Choose it. Love it.
It is a constant year after year. The monsoon, a season of sudden summer storms. They can unleash flash flooding and disruptive winds, blinding dust and deadly lightning. The monsoon has triggered tragedies and caused devastation. But the storms also help sustain the desert and all who live in it.
Yes.
Over the next half hour, the First Alert Weather Team will help prepare you for the season ahead and show you how the monsoon has impacted southern Arizona over the decades and how it'll shape the future as we bring you monsoon 70 years of monsoon, past, present, and future.
Yes.
This is a special presentation celebrating 70 years of Southern
Arizona.
70 years of
One,
monsoon.
two.
Sponsored by these local businesses.
So what is monsoon? It's a season with a nearly 180-degree swing of prevailing winds. Normally, weather moves from west to east, but during this season, it moves east to west, and that's what makes this part of the country so unique. This does not happen anywhere else in the U.S. And it's that shift in prevailing winds that brings in some deep moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. But it doesn't happen overnight. In early June, high pressure develops over northern Mexico. Late June through early July, it shifts to the north close to about the Four Corners area. That's where it will settle in. Clockwise flow around that, scoops up moisture from the Gulf, feeds it through the Sierra Madre mountain range in northern Mexico and right into southern Arizona. You combine that with some tropical moisture, and we've got widespread showers and storms.
Even something as basic as when monsoon starts and ends has changed. It is now calendar-based, starting on June 15th and wrapping up on September 30th. It's been that way for 15 years. But before 2008, monsoon wasn't officially underway until we'd had at least 3 consecutive days of 55-degree dew points. Dew point is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. When it starts to climb, it's a good indication that our weather pattern has shifted and the monsoon has arrived. Using that method, the monsoon typically started in early July and ended shortly after Labor Day, but it was a little messy. Monsoon timing varied from year to year and was inconsistent throughout the state because dew point differs from place to place. So in 2008, the National Weather Service put it on a calendar, just as they do with hurricane season.
Flooding is the monsoon's most destructive feature. Some years, it's just running washes and road closures. Other times, high water takes out buildings and bridges. 40 years ago, southeast Arizona experienced some of its worst flooding on record, and we still see some of its effects today. Monsoon 1983 had already been a busy one, with almost 50% more rainfall than normal. Then a weather disturbance combined with a tropical storm on the California coast triggered heavy downpours over the course of 6 days. And Tucson banks of the Rito River were washed away, dropping homes into the water. Several bridges on the Santa Cruz River were undermined, damaged, or washed out, as were other bridges and road crossings throughout the region. Pima County's summary of larger damaged sites was 10 pages long. According to the Tucson National Weather Service, the towns of Clifton, Duncan, Winkleman, Hayden, and Marana were almost entirely submerged in the floodwaters. The floods of 1983 left 13 dead, hundreds injured, 1,300 homes destroyed or heavily damaged, and 10,000 people displaced. The estimated cost statewide was $500 million, equal to $1.5 billion today. After the 1983 damage, changes were made to flood control efforts in Tucson. Bridges were built to new standards. State-of-the-art bank protection was applied on major washes. The total cost of the county's flood repair and flood hazard mitigation program was $105.7 million. Tucson Metro was devastated again in the winter of 1983. The wettest January on record, this made for the biggest occurrence of flooding since 1983. Damage to public transportation and flood control facilities, private property, and inconvenience totaled up to roughly $14 million for emergency repairs and long-term improvements, National Weather Service said. In 2006, heavy rain in the Catalina Mountains flooded the Rito River with even more water than 1983. But with improved flood control, no homes were lost or damaged in that area. While the county was busy reinforcing the washes, another plan also took shape: the loop. This multi-use path started out as bank protection along the Rito River. It grew into a 131-mile trail through Tucson, South Tucson, Oro Valley, and Marana that was completed in 2018. The monsoon's deadliest day was Labor Day 1970. A storm that dropped the most rain ever on a single day in Arizona also unleashed its worst natural disaster. 23 people died when massive floods surged through canyons and creeks in Arizona's high country. In the Tonto Creek Basin, 15 people who were spending the holiday weekend at cabins or camping died as floodwaters carried away cars, house trailers, and tents, and destroyed cabins. Sadly, a similar disaster struck in July 2017 when 10 members of a family who had been celebrating a birthday were killed by a flash flood at a popular swimming area inside Tonto National Forest.
You don't have to be in the mountains to face flash flood danger. Our normally dry desert washes can fill in moments. 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock over an adult or stall a car. A foot will float many vehicles. Even shallow water can be dangerous because you don't know if the pavement underneath has been washed away. Arizona does have a so-called stupid motorist law. If you get stuck after knowingly driving around flood signs or barriers, you can be charged for the rescue. But the law is rarely used, in part because law enforcement does not want people to be afraid to call for help.
So remember, it's simple. Turn around, don't drown. Wait for the waters to recede or find an alternate route.
Arizona gets about 500,000 lightning strikes a year, most of them during the monsoon. It's spectacular and potentially deadly. The National Weather Service says the best way to lower your risk of being struck by lightning is going inside when you hear thunder. Buildings considered lightning safe are those which have grounded wiring and plumbing like most homes.
Don't ask questions, simply go to a large substantial building or a fully enclosed metal vehicle. We don't want to be touching the water running in the sink or in the shower, in the bathtub. Those are very good conductors.
It's also important to stay away from trees during a thunderstorm since they can conduct a ground current or even explode.
Lightning often strikes more than 3 miles away from the center of a thunderstorm and can travel 10 to 15 miles. Remember to be safe. When thunder roars, stay indoors.
Summer is peak wildfire season in Arizona, and lightning starts about 1 in every 10 wildfires in the state, including by far the deadliest wildfire in Arizona history. This year brings the 10th anniversary of the Yarnell Hill Fire. 19 firefighters, members of Prescott's Granite Mountain Hotshots, were killed on June 30th, 2013. The fire was ignited by a dry lightning storm near Yarnell. Heat and high winds caused flames to rapidly spread. Investigators say the crew was surrounded by a wall of fire and couldn't escape. That wildfire ultimately burned 8,400 acres and more than 100 homes. The site where the firefighters died is now a memorial park. We're also 3 years on from the Bighorn Fire. A lightning strike from an early storm started it in June 2020. The fire forced evacuations of Mount Lemmon and Foothills neighborhoods from Catalina to Reddington. Summerhaven was threatened, but saved. Flames burned nearly 120,000 acres before the fire was contained in late July at a cost of $37 million. This summer also marks 20 years since the Aspen Fire burned on Mount Lemmon. It started June 17, 2003, on the Aspen Trail, a couple of miles south of Summerhaven. Flames burned through the town 2 days later and destroyed more than 340 buildings. The fire burned for more than a month, covering nearly 85,000 acres. The forest atop the mountain continues to come back, but officials say it will take more than a century for it to fully recover. Many of the cabins that were lost have been replaced. Police believe a person started the fire. No one was ever charged directly, but one man police believe was smoking while on the trail when the fire started did plead guilty to lying to investigators.
Dust storms storms are a major concern during the monsoon. They can cover roads and swallow cities. When they hit a highway like this stretch on I-10 near Picacho, crashes are common and sometimes deadly. A recent study shows dust storms are far more dangerous than previously thought. Experts looked at data from 2007 to 2017 and at first came up with 10 deaths, or 1 a year.
That's just not add up.
Daniel Tong co-wrote the paper that took a second look at the numbers and found they were way off.
We found that dust storms killed 20 times more people than previously known.
The real number is 232 people in 10 years. It happens in places like Interstate 10, where there were so many crashes. ADOT installed a dust storm warning system from Picacho to Eloy.
This is all off-the-shelf technology, but to our knowledge, nobody else has ever combined all the elements into this system.
Cameras and sensors detect dust storms and use electronic signs to lower the speed limit. It's been installed for 3 years. ADOT says the system shows drivers slowing down when it activates.
We've had between about 10 and 18 activations per year, with most of those occurring during the monsoon.
If you encounter a dust storm and don't have time to exit the highway, pull off the road as far as possible. Stop the car, turn off your lights, set your emergency brake, take your foot off the brake pedal, and close all the vents so you're not breathing in all the dust. Remember ADOT's motto for dust storm safety: pull aside, stay alive. Decades of drought bring new cuts to our water supply, but Arizona farmers felt it first. How some are hanging on even as their allotment drops.
Charlie Christie opened his mom-and-pop appliance store on Speedway Boulevard back in 1956 with the goal to provide quality service and appliances in Tucson.
Hope you guys are enjoying the 13 News 7 News the Monsoon Special. It will be right back after this commercial break. Make sure to subscribe to Wild Series World TV YouTube channel here. Share Wild Series World TV on you here. Give me a like. And comment below what you think of the 7 years of monsoon year. And make sure to stay safe in this monsoon year. And we'll be back with 10 years of monsoon special right now.
Sponsored by Palo Verde Glass and Screen, proudly serving Tucson, Arizona, and
right now. Okay. So just on the commercial break. So let me know in the comment down below what you think about the monsoon special. 10 years of the monsoon special here on certain news. And make sure to stay safe this year's monsoon year. 2023 year. Make sure to share Wild Series TV on YouTube here. Give me a like. Share Wild Series TV on YouTube here. Hit the subscribe button here. Hit the notification bell on here. Hit the mind bell on here. And we'll be right back on to the new Sunday News and Monsoon special here in just a moment here. So yeah. So yeah, and wonder how you guys are doing tonight here in the comments down below here as well. And I'll turn the camera on to news Monsoon special is back. It's back right now. So I'll turn the camera back on right now.
Sponsored by these local businesses.
Every monsoon is different. Some deliver lots of rain, others don't. Most somewhere in the middle. Let's look back at some historic monsoon highs and lows. Using the old dew point method, the earliest monsoon start on record is June 17, 2000. The latest, July 25th, 1987. For Tucson's wettest monsoon, you have to go back almost 60 years. 13.84 inches of rain in 1964. Tucson's driest monsoon, 99 years ago, just 1 59/100ths of an inch of rain in 1924. The wettest day ever in Arizona was Labor Day, 1970. 11.4 inches of rain fell in just 24 hours. That's outside the town of Globe.
Decades of drought leave Arizona facing deepening cuts of its supply of Colorado River water this summer, while cities and towns across the state are now making plans to do with less. Arizona agriculture was among the first to see their supply cut. Some farmers are entering their third growing season with lower allotments. How farmers are coping with water loss.
My great-great-grandfather came and homesteaded in Gilbert in 1919 and began farming.
Triple M Farms in Casa Grande is a century old and one of many having to make changes. This fifth-generation farm cut its summer crops in half because Arizona's share of Colorado River water is shrinking.
In 2021, it was growing a lush, beautiful cotton crop. Now it's just growing weed.
Now, more cuts are coming.
Absolutely, we're going to be looking at additional cuts.
After 20 years of drought, water levels in reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell are at near record lows. That threatens both water supply and power production.
It's really important for the states to come up with solutions. We have been flirting with a kind of a danger zone on Lake Mead and Lake Powell in the last few years, where we could actually see a situation in which one or the other reservoir would go into dead pool, which is the place where no water can be delivered off the reservoir. And of course, it would be catastrophic.
Arizona, Nevada, and California have agreed to conserve 3 million acre-feet of water over the next 3 years. It was that, or have the federal government mandate reductions. 1 acre-foot of water is enough to sustain 3 typical Arizona homes for a year. The agreement is voluntary and would be split up among farmers, tribes, and cities with compensation from the federal government. Tucson is doing its part, committing to give back a combined 110 acre-thousand feet through 2025.
For decades, Tucson Water and the city of Tucson and previous mayors and councils have really brought it home on how important it is to conserve water.
This comes after the city of Tucson offered to leave up to 60,000 acre-feet of its Colorado River water in Lake Mead in both 2022 and 2023. The city will receive $400 per acre-foot. The state of Arizona has put a pause on issuing water permits for new developments that would rely on groundwater on the fringes of the Phoenix metro. Back at Triple M Farms, Jace Miller hopes a good monsoon after a wet winter will provide some relief.
We have not had to sell off any equipment or lay off any employees, but that is a card that is on the table. If things don't improve, we may have to downsize our operation. It hurts your pride. You know, you take a lot of pride in the products you produce and the land that you cultivate.
A cross-border sewer line vulnerable to damage from monsoon flooding. After decades of delay, we'll show you what's happening now to protect it.
I have 4 boys. And with one of them who is going to be learning to drive,
If you guys to join the 70 Years of Monsoon special on 13 News, make sure to subscribe to Those World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to share out Those World TV on YouTube here. To the notification bell on here. To the reminder bell on here. And with the comment down below. What you guys think about the Monsoon special, 70 Years of Monsoon special. And we'll watch it from today here. And we'll be right back on 70 Years of Monsoon special on 13 News. Tonight here, we know are gonna be safe. There's Monsoon Special 2023 here, and we'll be right back with the 70 Years of Monsoon Special. So the 70 Years of Monsoon Special is back on 70 News. I'll turn the camera back on here. So we'll be right back on 70 News. 70 Years of Monsoon Special on 70 News in just a moment here.
Try it, choose it, love it.
A lot of attorneys talk about all their experiences. But experience with poor results means nothing. At Lerner Rowe, we've recovered billions of dollars for over 150,000 clients. And that's the
Right back on 10 News. 10 Years of Monsoon Special on 10 News here. In just a few minutes here. After these commercial break is over.
160-point quality assurance inspection will be Toyota certified used vehicles with 7-year, 100,000-mile limited power.
Once again, we're right back on 10 News. 10 Years of Monsoon Special on 10 News. In just a moment here. After these commercial breaks are over.
Get 5.49% APR for up to 60 months on Camry, Corolla, or RAV4 Toyota certified used models. Find yours at toyotacertified.com. Toyota, let's go places. When Arby's added bacon to the wild use.
Once again, we're right back on 10 News. 10 News. Monsoon Special is back on after this commercial breaks. I'll turn the camera on back on here. So, we're right back on 10 News. Monsoon Special. 10 Years of Monsoon Special on 10 News. We're right back in just a moment here. Right now.
Of monsoon. Sponsored by these local businesses.
After 3 years of a La Nina pattern in the Eastern Pacific, climate models are showing El Nino returning. You can think of La Nina as a cold phase and El Nino as a warmer one.
A long-time monsoon trouble spot is getting an upgrade. For decades, flooding has threatened the 9-mile-long pipeline that carries wastewater from both sides of the Nogales border to a treatment plant in Rio Rico. Damage in July 2017 spilled hundreds of thousands of gallons of sewage into Potrero Creek and the Santa Cruz River. Now, the first phases of a nearly $40 million rehab and reinforcement project are wrapping up. 13 News reporter Mary Coleman gives us a closer look.
It's something that apparently we needed, and it should help the cause of having any ruptures down the line.
Nogales Mayor Jorge Maldonado has seen it all when it comes to the city's drainage issues, from flooding due to the rain to flooding due to pipe bursts. And it's been a year and a half since the rehabilitation project to upgrade the Nogales International Outfall Interceptor started in hopes of mitigating those dangers. The line carries 12 million gallons of wastewater per day, so the pipeline needs to be one of strength and durability. But time is of the essence for certain repairs with the start of monsoon creeping up and with Customs and Border Protection patrolling some of these areas.
We found an area within the Morley Tunnel that was also brought to us by CBP, and it showed some erosion around the encasement, the concrete encasement that is around the pipe within the tunnel. And so, because it was so severely degraded, we wanted to make sure to repair that before this next monsoon season. So that's one of the areas that will be restored.
It's a 13-foot section near the border that will be repaired. But where does the entire project stand? Officials say they're ahead of schedule. The estimated completion date for the first few phases was October, but that will be finished this summer.
From phase 2, we'll move on to phases 4 and 5 from there. So then the next project, which finishes up the whole phasing, will start in the summer.
But I think they're doing a good job. They finished that area almost 3 weeks prior to schedule, so I think we're on a good route.
The mayor says while he's hopeful since the work is ahead of schedule, he also hopes that the protection will continue once the pipeline is done. Reporting in Nogales, Mary Coleman, 13 News.
Monsoon 2022 was just about out. Well, this year raised the bar. The Monsoon 2023 outlook is next.
Aaron says he can save you money.
Get your car's AC checked. Not only will it keep you cool, it'll save you.
When you comment down below what you think about the 2023 monsoon outlook, and then it comes down below here. When you're where you're watching from, it comes down below here. And make sure to subscribe to this World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to share this World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to like this World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to subscribe to this World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to share this World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to turn the notification bell on watch the World TV on YouTube here. And make sure to turn the mind bell on watch the World TV on YouTube here. Make sure the mind bell on watch the World TV on YouTube here. And we'll be right back on 30 News. So the news monthly special here, so the news monthly special here, just a moment here. But these commercial breaks are over here, and turn years monthly special is back on 30 News here. I will turn the camera back on here, so we can watch the rest of 30 News, 30 years of 30 News monthly special here. Okay? So as soon as it's back on here, I'll turn the camera on here.
For total pest protection, go to azpest.com for a free evaluation today.
So as soon as the commercial breaks are over here, I'll turn the camera on back on here. As soon as 7 years, the market special is back on 30 News here.
Hi, I'm Jay Cummings. If this sounds familiar, call Cummings Plumbing, Heating, Cooling right away. Water leaks can do a lot of damage. If you're noticing the signs, call us today for a free leak inspection. It's important to find and fix leaks fast. If you got a problem, we'll be there anytime, day or night.
Aaron says
So as soon as the 30 News, 7 years, the market special is back on after these commercial breaks here, I'll turn the camera on back on here.
Be sure your system is running smoothly.
Aaron's Affordable Auto Repair, now with attractive financing options.
You're watching 7 years of monsoon. Sponsored by Diesel.
So, the big question question, what will monsoon 2023 bring to southern Arizona? The forecast calls for below average rainfall, a slight delay to the start of our showers and storms possible, and above average temperatures. Now, the thinking behind that forecast is that El Nino likely is going to develop. You combine that with the elevated snowpack we had across the west in the mountains, and the two combined will slow the overall monsoon circulation. The slower it takes for that high pressure to build and move into its monsoon home, the slower it'll take to get those showers and storms going, and the less rain we'll likely receive.
Our weather team will declare a first alert action day when there's a high chance of strong storms. We'll notify you during our newscast and on our mobile app, telling you the actions you can take to stay safe during the storm.
Thank you for celebrating 70 years of monsoon with the 13 News First
With your weather team.
Happy monsoon
Dude,
and stay
they
safe.
get you a great century Manchester News World Station. From the years of Arizona, here's monsoon. Local businesses.
The KOLD First Alert Weather app just got even better, and it's easy to use the moment you download it. First, tell the app to follow you so that you...
Okay. And happy 70 years of monsoon season in Arizona, and happy 70 years of the news here at KOLD. And thanks for watching our 70 years of monsoon special on City News here. Thanks so much for watching here. And make sure to subscribe to Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. Make sure to turn the notification bell on Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. And make sure to turn your mind bell on Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. And make sure to share Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. And we're gonna come on Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. And so yeah, make sure to do all of that here. And when severe weather breaks here, I'll bring it to you guys live on Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. And the monsoon this year, 2023 here. And I'll bring it to you live on Wazzo's World TV on YouTube here. And during this news as well. Want to bring it to you live. And thanks so much for watching. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys and God bless.